Good evening. Welcome to South Asia Newsline. I'm Uzma Jaffrey. Here are the top stories we are tracking for you on Friday, the 9th of July. Indian PM Modi chairs oxygen supply revamp meet as over 1,500 PSA plants come up. Massive fire at juice factory in Bangladesh kills over 50. And United States to leave Afghanistan on August 31, says President Biden. And now for all the details. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Friday chaired a high-level meeting to review the augmentation and availability of oxygen across the country and instructed officials to ensure that the oxygen plants are made functional at the earliest. This comes as the new cabinet chaired by PM Modi on Thursday approved emergency response package worth $3.12 billion to tackle the COVID-19 pandemic.
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Friday chaired a high-level meeting to review the augmentation and availability of oxygen across the country and instructed officials to ensure that the oxygen plants are made functional at the earliest amid the coronavirus pandemic. More than 1,500 pressure swing adsorption PSA oxygen plants are coming up across the nation. PM Modi asked officials to ensure there is adequate training of hospital staff on the operation and maintenance of oxygen plants. This comes as new cabinet chaired by Prime Minister Modi on Thursday announced 23,123 crore rupees, that is $3.12 billion package for improving health infrastructure to fight COVID-19. New Health Minister Mansukh Mandavia in his first press briefing on Thursday said the funds will be used to make necessary arrangements like pediatric care units to ICU beds, oxygen storage, ambulances and medicines in all districts of the country. Meanwhile, India on Friday reported 43,393 new COVID-19 cases in the last 24 hours, taking total cases tally to 30.75 million. India has so far administered 359.6 million vaccine doses, at least one dose to 31% of its estimated adult population of 944 million. The last border village in the northern Kathua district of India's federal Jammu and Kashmir territory has become one of the first villages in the valley to be 100% vaccinated against COVID-19.
ये हमें बताते हुए बहुत खुशी हो रही है कि बबिया विलेज जो है ये हीरानगर ब्लॉक के अंडर आता है, तो ये कठुआ डिस्ट्रिक्ट का पहला विलेज है जहां 100% टारगेट अचीव किया गया है वैक्सीनेशन का। 18 प्लस में भी और 45 प्लस में भी जितने एलिजिबल थे वो सारे हमारे ये वैक्सीनेटेड हैं लोग।
100% लोगों ने वैक्सीन लगवा ली है।
तो इससे कितनी सेफ्टी समझते हैं?
नहीं, बहुत ज़्यादा सेफ्टी है जी। हाँ, ठीक है, तकरीबन ठीक ही है।
However, despite being among the world's major producers of coronavirus vaccines, India faces a mammoth task in inoculating its 1.3 billion people, partly due to logistical challenges of reaching remote areas and skepticism and lack of knowledge about the process.
In news from Bangladesh, more than 50 people were reportedly killed and several injured after a massive fire raged through a juice factory in Bangladesh on Friday. The death toll was likely to rise, officials said, as rescue operations were still underway till the last reports came in.
At least 52 people were killed and over 50 others injured after a massive fire raged through a factory in Bangladesh, officials said on Friday. The cause of the fire, which originated at a ground floor of a multi-story building of a juice factory on Thursday night in Narayanganj, 12 miles from capital Dhaka, was not immediately known. 3 people died from jumping off the building to escape the fire, and 49 charred bodies have been recovered so far, an official said till the last reports came in. The death toll was likely to rise as rescue operations continued. It is suspected that the fire originated from the ground floor of the building and spread quickly due to the presence of chemicals and plastic bottles, local media reports said. Such incidents in factories, many of which operate illegally and without proper fire safety measures, are common in Bangladesh.
Moving on. Election campaigning has intensified for July 25 assembly poll in Pakistan-administered Kashmir, with major political parties holding massive rallies despite fears of coronavirus spread in the illegally occupied region. Opposition leaders have blamed Pakistan PM Imran Khan's PTI party is trying to influence voting and is involved in pre-poll rigging.
Election campaigning has intensified in Pakistan-administered Kashmir, with senior leaders of major political parties holding massive rallies ahead of the July 25 assembly poll in the illegally occupied region. Addressing a gathering in Muzaffarabad on Thursday, PMLN, Pakistan Muslim League Nawaz Vice President Maryam Nawaz hit out at Pakistan PM Imran Khan for rising inflation and said people in Pakistan-administered Kashmir were being made to bear the burden of the government's failures. She warned that Khan's PTI party should know that its ongoing attempts of pre-poll rigging won't work.
इलेक्शन चोरी के नित नए तरीके जो इनको आते शायद ही दुनिया में किसी को आते हों, लेकिन याद रखना मेरी बात, कश्मीरियों का लीडर और कश्मीरियों का वजीर आजम कोई गीदड़ नहीं हो सकता.
Meanwhile, Pakistan People's Party chairman Bilawal Bhutto Zardari during a rally said that the real face of Imran Khan's change is historic poverty, price hike and unemployment. The assembly election is being held in Pakistan-administered Kashmir despite fears of coronavirus spread. Locals in the illegally occupied region have long blamed that successive governments have only exploited them over the years through economic depredations and rampantly destroying their natural resources.
Pakistan on Friday reported over 1,500 daily coronavirus case count for the third consecutive day as the country continues to record a small but definitive uptick in virus cases. Authorities have, however, ruled out complete lockdown in case Pakistan experiences a fourth wave of the coronavirus pandemic.
Pakistan's National Command and Operations Centre NCOC on Friday confirmed that 1,737 new COVID-19 cases were detected in the last 24 hours, taking the country's overall confirmed cases to 969,476, including 35,573 active cases. Pakistan's Eastern Punjab province is the most affected region of the country. Asad Umar, Pakistan's Federal Planning and Development Minister, however, rejected the possibility of a complete lockdown in case the country experiences a fourth wave of the coronavirus pandemic. Fearing the fourth wave of the virus will start in July, Assad said Pakistan will impose smart lockdowns across the country, as it had done before to counter the virus. On Thursday, Pakistan's Prime Minister Imran Khan warned the nation in a video message that a fourth wave of COVID-19 could hit the country if people continue to ignore the government's mandated standard operating procedures to control the epidemic and urged people to get vaccinated.
मसलन अमेरिका ने बड़ी तेज़ी से कर दिया क्योंकि वहाँ बनती है वैक्सीन, बरतानिया ने कर दिया और मुल्कों ने कर दिया, लेकिन हमारे मुल्क में वैक्सीन बनती नहीं है. लिहाजा जैसे जैसे वैक्सीन आती रहती है हम डोज लगाते रहते हैं. इस वक्त हमारे पास है वैक्सीन, लिहाजा इसका फ़ायदा उठाएं.
Khan also warned the nation about the dangers of the Delta variant, which first emerged in India, and said that India, Bangladesh, Afghanistan and Indonesia are currently suffering because of it.
US President Joe Biden has set a target date of August 31 for the final withdrawal of US forces from Afghanistan. He said the Afghan people must decide their own future and that he would not consign another generation of Americans to the two-decade-long war.
US President Joe Biden on Thursday said it is up to the Afghan people alone how they run their country, as he announced the US military mission in Afghanistan will end on August 31, despite new concerns about the possibility of a civil war. Addressing reporters at the White House, Biden also said that Washington plans to move thousands of Afghan interpreters out of the country in anticipation of the end of US-led mission. However, 650 troops will continue to provide security for the US Embassy. Biden's order in April to pull out US forces by September 11 after 20 years of conflict has coincided with major gains by the Taliban insurgents against overwhelmed Afghan forces after peace talks sputtered.
Did not go to Afghanistan to nation build.
And it's the right and the responsibility of Afghan people alone to decide their future and how they want to run their country.
Meanwhile, uncertainty has grown among Afghans as neighboring Pakistan, citing the spread of COVID-19, closed the Torkham border point this week. People stranded at the border on Thursday said they believed the closure could be because of the worsening situation in Afghanistan. Pakistan's Information Minister Fawad Chaudhry earlier said that Pakistan was expecting Afghan refugees at the border and was planning to build camps in the border region. However, it would be a great challenge to manage, he said.
Moving on to news from Sri Lanka. Sri Lankan President Gotabaya Rajapaksa has appointed his younger brother Basil Rajapaksa as finance minister in a move that has further tightened the family's grip over the island nation. This comes at a time when the tourism-dependent country has been witnessing a downfall in its economy due to the coronavirus pandemic.
Sri Lankan President Gotabaya Rajapaksa on Thursday appointed his younger brother Basil Rajapaksa as finance minister in a move that further tightened the family's grip over the island nation. Basil took over as Minister of Finance from Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa, who is also his older brother. Mahinda was also given an additional role as Minister of Economic Policies and Plan Implementation. In addition to the latest changes, another of Gotabaya's brothers, Chamal, is Minister of Irrigation and a junior Minister for Defence. Mahinda's son, Namal, is Minister for Youth and Sports. President Gotabaya and his older brother Mahinda won an overwhelming majority in parliamentary elections last year, giving the family the power to enact sweeping changes to the island nation's constitution. Basil's appointment comes at a time when tourism-dependent Sri Lanka has been witnessing a downfall in its economy due to the coronavirus pandemic. As of Friday, Sri Lanka reported 269,946 confirmed COVID-19 cases, with 3,391 deaths so far.
Over the years, the Western Ghats forest cover has been severely fragmented owing to human activities like clear felling of trees for agriculture and timber and mining. India's second highest plunge, Jog Falls waterfall, has thinned significantly due to scarce rain, which environmentalists say is a direct result of rapid deforestation in the Western Ghats.
India's second highest plunged waterfall, Jog Falls, has thinned significantly due to scarce rain, which environmentalists say is a direct result of rapid deforestation in the Western Ghats. The dense tropical rainforest of the Western Ghats, also known as the Sahyadri mountain range, acts as a substrate for the monsoon winds and also off-weather sea winds. Jog Falls, located on Sharavati River in southern Karnataka state, is thinning in its quantity gradually over the years due to a lack of rain and delayed monsoons.
A massive amount of rich natural forests in the Western Ghats, which are called as rain-bearing forest cover, have come down drastically over a period of last 78 years, especially we can say since 1947, when we got the independence, when we became uniquely responsible for our own environment.
Over the years, the Western Ghats forest cover has been severely fragmented owing to human activities like clear felling of trees for agriculture and timber and mining. The Karnataka government recently introduced plans to increase tourist traffic in the area for Jog Falls by making it perennial and increased infrastructure for accommodating more tourists, drawing sharp criticism from environmental activists. The forests of the Western Ghats were declared ecologically sensitive area in 2011. They are so huge that they cover 5% of India's total land and are home to 4,000 higher plant species in India, out of which 1,800 are endemic to this region.
Well, that's all we have for you from South Asia this evening. Now our viewers can watch the show on SouthAsiaNewsline.com. You can also visit us on Facebook.com/SAsiaNewsline and follow us on Twitter @SAsiaNewsline. That's all in tonight's edition. We will see you same time next week. Have a great weekend. Good night.